We have a sneaky Texans trade that's about to go down. This could be a golden opportunity for the Texans, and at first hand, this looks like a terrible move because the backfield is already as clouded as it is. So you think to yourself, this probably isn't the best move for the Texans, but honestly, it's exactly what they need in terms of just to change the pace of just not only the running back room, but to change the pace of the offense. So, a lot to break down today on Texans Digest. If you're new to the channel, love all the support you guys have been bringing. Comment down below your thoughts on if this player is a potential trade candidate for the Texans, because honestly, it really isn't that bad of an idea. Now, again, stay up the news. 77% of you are not subscribed, so if you want to stay up the news, just hit that sub button. But Travis Etienne has been on the trade block for a while, and the first thing you think to yourself is, why would the Texans want to trade for Travis Etienne? They got Joe Mixon, they got Woody Marks, they got Dameon Pierce, they got Derek Ogunbowale, who they love as well as a receiving back, and the thought in this article was, hey, let's go get somebody who knows what he's doing in the receiving game, which is even crazier because not really thinking Etienne is a crazy receiver. Yes, that was what he was known for at Clemson. He caught a lot of passes for Trevor Lawrence, but honestly, the Texans really need a back that is the opposite of Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon is a bruiser. He can run fast. He can run for 40-yard touchdowns, but mainly Mixon is used for in between the tackles. Etienne is a fast, explosive back that has a really good change of pace. So to have him as a secondary back behind Joe Mixon, that could actually be better. And to think about it, let's just hypothetical. Let's look at the situation, because as much as I want Woody Marks to start this year, he may not be ready. And Dameon Pierce could take over as the RB2, but who would you rather have? Dameon Pierce, who's a similar runner to Joe Mixon, or Travis Etienne, who's pretty slow? He's not slow, but again, you look at Etienne's stats, and it doesn't really speak too highly for him, considering last year he had the worst year of his career. And I mean, it was a downward trend as well, because year one, his rookie year he got hurt. Second year in the league, 1,100 yards, 5 touchdowns, 5 yards a carry. That's what you want to see from an explosive back. The year after, had all the bulk of the carries, 270 attempts, only 1,000 yards, barely hit 4 yards a carry. So if the Texans can have a system to where Joe Mixon is the starter and you have somebody behind him, kind of like a Zeke, Tony Pollard situation, it really isn't the worst idea in the world. But first things first, I was like, this is really a dumb idea. But if the Texans can do what they did with Christian Kirk and trade for like a 6th or a 7th round pick for Travis Etienne, I say why not? Now, the running back room is loaded, and you do have to worry about cutting down your roster to that 53-man size. But looking at the fact that Joe Mixon is injured, he's in a walking boot, that is not a good sign in terms of the fact that it is an undisclosed situation. Mixon will be fine. The ankle injury, I would assume it has something to deal with the fact that he was, rolled his ankle last year. He sprained his ankle, but again, a 60 overall PFF grade, 70 in the receiving game. Again, a more significant receiver than he was a runner. But I mean, the Mixon pretty much is the 3-down workhorse back. So it's an interesting situation for the Texans, and I'd love to hear your guys' take, because as much as the article is talking about how the Texans could poach another player from a division rival, it's not like they haven't done it already with Christian Kirk. So it's not the fact that the Texans aren't going to trade with the Jaguars because they're a division rival. Nick Caserio can figure that out. But Travis Etienne still has some burst in the tank. He's 25 years old on the last year of his rookie contract. You could just trade a 7th round pick for him, have that upside for this season, and then if he doesn't perform, just get rid of him. You got Woody Marks for next season. Perfect. Or if he doesn't perform week 1 and 2, boom, get rid of him. Woody Marks can step up. Dameon Pierce can step up. But again, if you do trade for Etienne, that is going to slim down the running back room, and you're going to have to cut Ogunbowale or Pierce. And that is definitely something that's going to hurt me, because I love both of those backs, and they are both capable of being backups. But the Texans have so many running backs right now, they don't really know what to do with them. Do you move Etienne, the wide receiver? I mean, that would be kind of dumb considering the fact that the Texans have so many wide receivers to work with. But I mean, Etienne, Not at OTAs. Clearly, they do not want him. The Jaguars have their backs between Tank Bigsby and Baishal Tootin. So I don't know if that's what you want to do, but realistically, ETN has some upside. And if the Jaguars put him on the trade block, they're probably trying to get a third or a fourth round pick for him, which I don't think any team is going to be willing to give up. You have the Broncos that are somewhat interested. They have RJ Harvey, a rookie. They might need a veteran like ETN. And although ETN's not necessarily a veteran, he's been in the league for 4 years now. Again, 3 years as a pro. I mean, he's not necessarily a 30-year-old veteran, but I'd rather a younger running back who's, maybe got a few more years left. But I feel like it's always this thing with Jaguars running backs to where it was Leonard Fournette had a short career with Jacksonville. He had that hamstring problem, and now ETN is just another odd man out back when the Urban Meyer era was happening. But I just don't think this is a possibility for the Texans. They're kind of dead set on their roster already, so it's like it's something that it honestly isn't the worst idea in the world. Originally, when I first looked at it, I was like, this is probably not that good of an idea. But then you think about it deep down, it's like, you know what? He could bring some firepower to the offense, considering he's kind of a great, 1-2 punch to Mixon. You want that second running back to be explosive, and I guess that's kind of why you got Woody Marks. But Woody Marks is kind of similar to Joe Mixon. He's a patient running back. He's not necessarily the fastest running back. He's got some speed, no doubt, but that's not what he's known for. ETN is known for his quickness and speed, and honestly, it wouldn't be the worst thing to bring him as a receiver out of the backfield. But again, trading for somebody now wouldn't be the worst idea in terms of looking forward to this season and getting him new and updated with the offense. It's just a matter of do you want to take that risk on a player who's 25 years old, who's coming off 2 bad seasons. He did have a 1,000-yard season with 11 touchdowns, but again, he did not have a good yards per carry number, and he's been digressing throughout the past 2 seasons. So 1,000 yards, 270 carries, 3.8 yards a carry, and then only 2 touchdowns this past season, 558 yards, and he played 15 games. So that's something that's definitely not eye-popping. But to be quite honest with you, if ETN can be anything close to what he was in his 2022 season, that's what the Texans need. Somebody who's going to take less carries, take the burden off of Joe Mixon, and be able to run an open field, which is what ETN does so well. He runs so great in open field, open tacklers. I mean, that's what he does the best. So I honestly don't mind the idea of trading for him. The problem is, what do you do with all those running backs? You got Pierce, Mixon, Woody Marks, Ogunbowale. Now ETN, that's 6 running backs. Did that count wrong? Mixon, Ogunbowale, Pierce, Marks, that's 5. I can't count today. So, but, I mean, honestly, to trade, it would be a 7th or an 8th round pick, honestly, I don't hate it. So, first thing I looked at, I'm like, why in the world would the Texans trade for Travis Etienne? And then I couldn't stop thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? It really is not that bad of an idea, because normally most dual threat running backs in the league, one that complements the other, one that's a 1-2 punch, you have your bruiser in Joe Mixon, who probably won't be with the team for much longer. He's probably got 1 to 3 years left. I would say 2 is the ideal thing there. He's approaching 30 years old. Again, he's getting up there in age. That's why you drafted Woody Marks. But looking at the 1-2 punches across the league, you have your one back, who's your bruiser, and then the backup, who's more of a open field runner, if you would. I mean, there's rarely any real teams now that have a running back where they just run them into the ground 300 carries a year, unless you're the Baltimore Ravens with Derrick Henry, or the Raiders with Ashton Genty this year, who don't really have a number 2. But most teams have a 1-2 punch. Even Carolina picked up Rico Dowdle. But as far as the Texans, let me know your thoughts, because this is a very, very interesting situation, and I think it could go a far way in terms of this is really not a bad idea. The fact that the Texans are considering this. So it's a tough decision for sure, but I feel like there's two possibilities. One, Nick Caserio is going to say, why not? Nobody else wants him. I'll pick him up. We can use an extra running back. We're not really sure what this room's going to look like. Or you can have option two, Nick Caserio saying, yeah, we're already set on our team. We already have our running backs. We don't need another guy. But it is a different kind of skill set that you can bring to the team. So I'm all for it, personally. Let me know your thoughts. It's definitely not the worst idea in the world. Kind of repeating myself here, but let me know your thoughts in the comments. Very, very tricky, interesting situation, however you want to put it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I mean, it's been a great time doing Texans Digest. Let me know your thoughts. I mean, I think I said it about 8 times, but I'm actually really interested to see what the public what their view is on this, because you guys, I mean, you're in the comments for the reasons. I mean, Trey Hendrickson, that trade, definitely not a good idea. This is actually something for the first time in a few weeks to where I can actually say, this is not the worst idea in the world. You know, you had all these other articles talking about all these crazy things that the Texans are never going to do. The Texans may never do this, but this is actually not a bad idea in terms of the skill set that this player is bringing. So, enough for me. That's enough for me. 10 times talking. It's been a long day. So thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate all the support in the videos. Comment your thoughts. It's been Mike Zanetti, Texans Digest. We'll see you in the next video.